The message from the moon echoed through every ship in the Empire's fleet. Phase 4 will begin in 1 hour. Last chance to retreat. Admiral Scythus stared at the screen, silent. His officers looked at him, waiting for orders, but no command came. Something had changed. For the first time, fear gripped the Empire's most powerful fleet. The humans weren't just resisting. They were planning something bigger. The fleet's scanners turned toward the moon. That's when they saw it. A black structure rising from the dark side, cold, silent, covered in strange armor. It wasn't a base. It was a weapon. At least a kilometer wide. It pulsed with quiet energy. Empire ships had scanned the moon 1,000 times. They had never seen this. How did they hide it? One officer whispered. No one answered. On Earth, the countdown continued. 0, 59, 44. 00, 59, 43. In the secret lunar base deep under the surface, Commander Rhea stood in front of the final control console. She wore no armor, no medals, just a silver badge with one word. Awakener. She turned to her team. Begin charge up. Unlock Phase 4. Earth is no longer on defense. Her engineers nodded. Across the base, engines groaned awake. A fusion. Core ignited. And on the surface of the moon, the giant weapon began to glow. First blue, then white-hot. It was called the Spear. Not a cannon, not a laser. Something older. Something human-made, but forbidden for decades. A weapon built not to destroy planets, but to disable fleets, blind AI, and break minds. Back on the Empire flagship, alarms went off. Energy spike. It's targeting. Everything. Our firewalls are failing. Admiral Scythus stood. Shut. It down. Fire at the moon. 5 dreadnoughts turned their weapons and fired, but the blasts never reached the surface. A silver barrier shimmered around the moon, plasma shield netting stretching miles wide. The Empire's weapons slammed into it and vanished in blue smoke. Then the moon fired back. Not with beams, with silence. A pulse spread out, unseen, unfelt, until it hit. Empire ship by Empire ship went dark. No explosions, no fire, just nothing. Engines died. Lights faded. Computers shut off. Thousands of crew members floated in darkness, powerless, confused, alone. The spear had hit their minds. A soundless, wave-tuned to alien neural frequencies, designed only to target non-human brains. The humans had studied Empire biology for years. Now they used that knowledge. On Earth, in hidden bases, old leaders gathered in holographic rooms. We've waited. Long enough, said Director Voss. We warned them. They didn't listen. Commander Hale nodded. It's time. Earth goes to war. Above, human ships that had been hidden in deep oceans began rising. Stealth cruisers, space carriers, and even old colony-class vessels retooled for combat. 1. By 1, they left Earth's atmosphere. A new fleet. Not massive, but deadly. Each ship had one mission: punch through the broken Empire fleet and carry the war into deep space. Meanwhile, on the moon, Commander Rhea watched as hundreds of drop pods launched toward the dark ships. They won't understand what hit them, she said calmly. Empire soldiers tried to fight back, but their weapons didn't work. Their AI froze. Their systems were corrupted. The humans didn't even need to fire bullets anymore. They sent in surgical teams, elite troopers in black armor, moving through the silent ships like ghosts. No mercy, no speeches, just precision strikes. Within 30 minutes, 70% of the burning Claw fleet was gone. The rest tried to escape. Admiral Scythus, now alone on his dying bridge, sent one last message. To any surviving Empire force, Earth is not what we thought. Do not return. This is a trap. A living trap. And then his ship vanished in a blue explosion. But Earth wasn't done. The countdown hit 0 Drew. Across the stars, every human deep space listening post activated. It was time to speak, a final message, sent in every known language, across every open galactic channel. This is Earth. You attacked. You ignored the warnings. You lost. We are no longer waiting. Humanity is coming. From the far side of Mars, a hidden jump gate, once believed broken, flared to life. And one by one, the human fleet entered it, heading toward the heart of the Empire. And this time, they would be the ones knocking on doors. The Empire's homeworld had not seen war in 1,000 years. Its skies were always calm, its people proud. Palaces floated above golden cities. Alien nobles walked streets guarded by machines older than most species. They believed no enemy could ever reach them. They were wrong. It began with a strange silence. No trade ships, no reports from the burning Claw Fleet. Then, without warning, the stars above their capital twisted open. A ripple tore across space. Out of it came Earth's fleet, smaller than what the Empire expected, but different. Sleek, dark, silent ships. No markings, no banners, just purpose. And at their head flew the Black Triangle, the old warship Judgment thought to be lost in deep space decades ago. Behind it, a wall of human ships formed, blocking out starlight. The people of the Empire stared at the sky. Some pointed, some ran. The High Lords in their towers laughed at first. "Let them come," they said, but no one laughed when the human fleet began transmitting. It wasn't a message, it was a countdown. Again, on board Judgment, Commander Hale stood before the crew. His voice was calm. Earth gave warnings. Earth showed mercy. Now, we finish it. The fleet moved in. Empire defense. Satellites powered up. Too slow. Human cyber units had already infected their systems. One by one, the satellites turned and exploded. The Empire's orbital cannons fired. But their targets weren't there anymore. Human ships blinked in and out of sight, using stealth drives stolen from forgotten alien tech. Then, the sky itself fell. From low orbit, Earth's heavy cruisers opened fire, not with missiles, but shock pulse weapons, built to disable without destroying. They wanted the Empire to see their end clearly. Palace towers cracked. Energy grids failed. The sky glowed red. Back on the ground, the Empire's council demanded their generals respond, but the generals were already gone. Many had fled. Some had taken their own lives. Others were captured. The people began to understand. This was not a war. This was judgment. At the heart of the city, inside the Golden Throne Hall, the last empress stood alone. Her robes were perfect. Her crown glowed. But her hands shook. A message appeared on her throne screen. Simple. Earth is here. Then the walls shattered. From the shadows walked human soldiers. Black armor, no flags, no names. One stepped forward. A woman, Commander Rhea. She looked the Empress in the eyes. You should have listened. The Empress tried to speak, but it didn't matter. Outside, Earth's flag, long forgotten, was raised above the tallest spire, not to claim land, but to mark a warning. Across the galaxy, thousands of systems watched the live broadcast. Earth had returned, not as a weak world, but as a storm. The humans didn't stay. They left the capital in silence, after wiping every military file, destroying command centers, and making sure no one could ever rise to threaten them again. As Earth's fleet vanished into the stars, the message echoed across every planet. Earth does not seek war, but if war comes, it ends with us. The galaxy is now under observation. Stay in peace, or stay afraid. On Earth, people celebrated, but not with parades or flags. They rebuilt quietly. They remembered the cost. In the secret bunkers, the old leaders returned to sleep. The weapons went back underground. The sky was calm again, But everyone knew one truth. Earth was no longer just a world. Earth was a warning. The stars would remember, and they would never forget what happened when the Empire attacked Earth and heard its final warning. The sun rose over Earth, but it brought no warmth, only shadows from the Empire's ships. Their massive fleet covered the sky like a storm. Cities had stopped screaming. Power was gone. Streets were quiet. People hid, waiting for the end. But far beneath the silence, something old was waking. The countdown hit Tenga, and Earth's real defense systems were almost ready. In orbit, Admiral Scythus had grown tired of waiting. "Enough of these games," he said coldly. "They hide underground like rats. Let us burn the tunnels and drag them out." He waved his hand. Instantly, the order was sent. The Empire's elite war squads, the Obsidian Blades, prepared for ground assault. These were not normal soldiers. They had destroyed planets before. Their armor was alive. Their weapons melted walls. They feared nothing. But Earth was not like the other worlds. As the Obsidian Blades dropped toward the surface, their ships were hit mid-air by something unexpected. Not missiles, not lasers. Gravity shifted. Winds howled. Some of the ships twisted and crashed into the mountains. The others landed, but landed blind. In the darkness, they moved through broken cities and icy valleys. Their scanners failed. Their maps glitched. The silence around them wasn't fear, it was warning. And then Earth answered. Without sound, without warning, old machines emerged. They weren't new. They looked rusty, outdated. But when they moved, the ground shook. They were called wardens, tall, two-legged metal beasts with glowing blue cores, left behind by Earth's oldest war scientists. They were simple in design, but deadly in purpose. The Obsidian Blades fired first. Their lasers struck the wardens, but the machines didn't fall. They adapted, shifted. One warden caught a plasma blade with its metal arm, crushed it, and hurled it back. Within minutes, the Empire's strongest warriors were dying in silence. Commander Hale watched from a remote base deep in the Andes. "Good," she said. "Let them see we're not dead. Not yet." Her assistant looked nervous. "Should we activate Phase 3? Hale shook her head. "Not yet. Let them think this is our limit." But Earth wasn't only fighting with machines. In small groups across the globe, hidden human strike teams moved through ruined cities. They were fast, smart, silent, trained in secret for this exact day. Their gear didn't shine. Their rifles didn't miss. In New York, a small squad ambushed an alien patrol. The humans came out of the smoke like ghosts. 2 aliens fell before. They even turned around. One alien tried to call for help, but a signal jammer cut him off. "They're learning our tech," a surviving soldier whispered to his captain. "No," the captain said. "They already knew it." In space, Admiral Scythus watched the reports with disbelief. Hundreds of elite troops, gone, ships missing, energy fields rising across Earth. He slammed his fist into the console. They were supposed to be weak. No one in the control room spoke. Then, a new signal appeared. It wasn't human. It came from deep space. "Admiral," a tech officer said slowly. "This signal is from the Lost Beacon, Sector X-49, the one Earth was forbidden to touch. Play it." The voice that spoke was human, but ancient, a warning from the past. "To those who invade Earth," it said, "we do not seek war. But if you bring it here, we will end it here," the message repeated, over and over, until the room was filled with that same final sentence. "We will end it here." Back on Earth, in a hidden launch silo beneath the Pacific Ocean, a new machine awoke. It was shaped like a jet, but larger than a submarine. Its wings were folded. Its core glowed green. It had no name. Only a code, Black Echo 9, A voice echoed through the launch chamber. Final defense authorization unlocked. Then the sea split open, and the machine rose into the sky. Around the world, people looked up. For the first time in days, they saw something human rise into the air, and in orbit. The Empire saw it too. "What is that?" Admiral Scythus asked. No one answered. The machine was fast, too fast. It moved like lightning, punching holes through the Empire's smaller ships. Each time it hit, there was no explosion, just silence. "And disappearance! Pull back!" Scythus yelled. "Regroup!" But it was too late. Earth had shown only a small part of its strength, and already the Empire was bleeding. In the command bunker, Commander Hale whispered to herself, 10 hours left on the countdown. Let's see how long they last." And deep underground, something far larger than Black Echo 9 waited, still sleeping, still dreaming, still ready. The Empire had lost contact with 2 warships, 9 strike teams, and over 1,000 soldiers. That kind of loss had never happened before, not in centuries, not even against the old warlords of the Zarn Expanse. But now, it was happening. On Earth, Admiral Scythus stood still on the bridge of his flagship, the Scourge of Suns. He stared at the screen showing Earth, blue, quiet, calm. It didn't look dangerous, but the data told another story. "They're activating old weapons," said his second-in-command. "Ones we've never seen before," Scythus growled. "Then we send the Burning Claw fleet. Cleanse the entire northern hemisphere. Crush their hidden bases. Leave nothing standing." The Burning Claw fleet. 5 dreadnoughts, 20 destroyers, and a swarm of orbital bombers moved into position. Their weapons charged. Target maps filled the screens. They planned to erase human resistance in one strike. But Earth was ready. At 05 Na UTC, the countdown reached 06 Gao Daos, and something changed. All around the planet, hidden vaults opened, some buried deep in old mountains, others under frozen oceans. These vaults were ancient, locked away during the last great war on Earth. Most humans didn't even know they existed. Inside them were machines, blueprints, and weapons far more advanced than anything Earth had shown so far. In Vault 17, Antarctica, a massive chamber came to life. Hundreds of drones built in silence over decades flew out in formation. Their eyes glowed bright red. They didn't make sound. They didn't need pilots. They were smart, smarter than most Empire ships, and their only target was everything, not human. In orbit, the Burning Claw fleet detected the launch, but too late. The drones didn't just attack, they hacked. They sent out invisible pulses, shutting down shields, locking weapons, blinding radar systems. One dreadnought tried to fire and exploded from inside. Its own reactor had been forced into overload. Admiral Scythus shouted, "Shut down all. Comms! Reboot firewalls!" But the humans were already in their systems. Then came the ground shock. Across the Rocky Mountains, a section of land split open. A long-forgotten rail cannon, the size of a battleship, rose from beneath. It hummed, once, then fired. A glowing red beam tore through the sky, and through a bomber fleet. 5 ships vanished in a blink. In underground base Echo 3, Commander Hale was watching everything. "They're using the old defense code?" asked her aide. "No," Hale said. "They've gone beyond it." The Empire, desperate to push forward, sent in fresh drop pods filled with new elite warriors. These weren't obsidian blades. These were worse. Bioengineered monsters, tall, razor-skinned, controlled by pain and rage. They landed near Berlin. Within minutes, they started tearing through human defenses. But Earth didn't just rely on machines. A voice rang through the dark forests. "Shield units, engage!" Out of the trees came soldiers in heavy exo-armor, silent and fast. They had been trained in deep war tunnels under Siberia, never seen in public. never named in records. Now they were Earth's last infantry elite. The battle in Berlin didn't last long. The Empire's monsters were strong, but humans were smarter. And this time, they had the tools to match. In one corner of the battlefield, a young human pilot used a portable war suit. With each jump, he tore through alien ranks. His HUD showed 3 red icons, targets locked. He launched a mini drone swarm. The sky turned white. And just like that, the monsters burned. Meanwhile, back on the Scourge of Suns, Admiral Scythus was losing control. Reports came faster than he could read them. Drones, hacking our fleet, rail cannons, destroying our bombers. Human. Squads appearing behind enemy lines. He turned to his chief war tech. "Tell me the truth. How is this possible? This was a Tier 5 planet. Weak, broken, divided." The officer's face went pale. "We were wrong, Admiral. Earth wasn't weak. Earth was asleep. And now it was fully awake." Then came the final message, one that shook every ship in orbit. It wasn't from a human base. It came from the moon. "Warning. Phase 4 will begin in 1 hour. Last chance to retreat." "The moon?" Scythus leaned forward. "They have weapons on the moon?" No one answered. But in a hidden human facility beneath the lunar surface, a massive weapon system hummed to life. It didn't fire yet, but the threat was clear. Earth wasn't fighting alone anymore. It had the moon, the drones, the vaults, and it had a plan. A cold wind moved through Earth's cities, not from fear, but from something deeper. Confidence. Because this time, the humans weren't just defending Earth. It was a quiet night on Earth. Cities glowed peacefully under the stars, people slept in their homes, and no one expected what was about to happen. Then, without warning, the sky turned red. A deep, rumbling sound filled the air. In every major city. People looked up in shock as fire streaked across the night sky. Massive shadows blotted out the stars. Ships, dark and sharp, descending from the clouds like blades from the heavens. The Empire had arrived. Panic spread fast. News channels tried to make sense of it, but nothing made sense. These were not natural events. The ships moved too fast, too smoothly, and they came from above the atmosphere. Some called them meteors, others called them gods. But they were neither. They were war machines, built by a powerful alien empire that had ruled dozens of galaxies, and now they believed Earth would be their next easy victory. In the Empire's warship command room, Admiral Scythus watched Earth's surface with cold eyes. "Primitive. Weak," he said, voice full of pride. "No defense grid, no orbital platforms, no space navy. This world will fall before sunrise." He wasn't wrong, at least not completely. Earth had no visible space defenses, no powerful fleets, no weapons in the sky. But what the Empire didn't know was that Earth had seen signs of war long before this night. And long ago it had prepared something dark and secret. Still, at that moment, people on Earth had no idea. Families ran to shelters. Cities lost power. Fighter jets launched but were instantly shot down. Government leaders across the globe sent desperate signals to each other. But satellite links were failing fast. It looked like Earth was truly helpless. Sirens screamed. Streets were packed with cars, horns, and terrified voices. The sky above was lit with red flashes as the Empire's ships hovered like monsters. In one underground command center, deep beneath Washington, D.C., a group of military officers watched as their screens went black one by one. A general slammed, his fist on the table. "They hit our satellites. We're blind." Someone in the corner said quietly, "Is this the end?" Another voice answered, not with fear, but with a calm warning. "No, this is the beginning." Far away, under the ice and stone of Antarctica, Something ancient stirred. No one above knew it yet, but buried miles beneath the ice cap was a hidden bunker older than any living human. Inside, massive machines stood still in the dark, waiting. They had been silent for a century, ever since Project Titan was sealed away by Earth's greatest scientists and leaders. The plan was simple. If Earth was ever attacked and had no chance of winning by normal means, the world would fall back on one final warning system. Now, that system was waking up. Back on the Empire's flagship, Admiral Scythus ordered a test. Strike. A group of ships flew toward a city, New York. The ships charged their weapons, but before the blast could fire, all 5 ships exploded in mid-air. There was no missile, no beam, just a sudden pulse of energy, and then silence. Confused, the Empire's ships pulled back. "What was that?" one alien officer asked. "We don't know," Scythus growled. "Scan again. There must be weapons hidden somewhere." But their scans showed nothing. No human weapons, no defense systems, just empty sky. Then all over Earth, screens lit up. On broken televisions, half-working phones, old radios, one signal came through. A simple voice, strong and cold. "You were warned." The voice was human, calm. It repeated the message again in every language of Earth, and then once more in the language of the Empire. "You were warned." Admiral Scythus stared at the signal. He didn't like it. "End that transmission now." But before they could react, something else happened. Back under Antarctica, metal doors began to shift. Massive gears turned, louder than any storm. Red lights flickered in the darkness, and then a screen lit up in the ancient control room, showing one word: countdown, initiated. The numbers began to fall. 12 hours. 11:59:59. 11:59:58. Earth wasn't helpless. It was waiting. And now, the final warning had begun. Deep beneath the frozen land of Antarctica, red lights flashed slowly in the ancient control room. Machines that had been asleep for over 100 years began to wake up. Large engines hummed. Cold air hissed through vents as power flowed through steel cables. On the main screen, the numbers kept falling. 11:59:58. 11:59:57. But above the ground, Earth still looked broken. Cities were dark. Fires burned in the distance. The sky remained filled with enemy ships. People saw no signs of hope. They thought the worst was still coming, and maybe it was. There were no human jets in the sky now. No radio signals from the military. Governments had gone silent. To the people of Earth, it felt like they had been left alone. In orbit, the Empire's fleet regrouped. Admiral Scythus stared at the burning planet below. "We saw no weapons, no resistance," he said to his officers. "Yet 5 of our ships exploded without reason. There is something hidden on this world." An officer spoke up. "We intercepted a signal. It originated from the southern pole, deep underground." "Send a strike force," Scythus ordered. "Find the source. Crush it." Moments later, several dropships left the main fleet and flew straight toward Antarctica. They were fast and heavily armed. Their mission was clear: land, search, destroy. On Earth, in the hidden bunkers scattered across the globe, old operatives watched the countdown with grim faces. These were not normal soldiers. They were part of something called the Earthshield Protocol, a secret plan created long ago in case of a galactic invasion. Only a few knew it existed, and even they didn't know everything. In one such bunker, a woman named Commander Hale sat in front of a cracked screen. Her uniform was old, but her eyes were sharp. "They're coming for the site," a young analyst said. Hale nodded. "Let them." "But they'll find the entrance." "No," she said, standing. "They'll find a grave." Far to the south, the Empire's drop ships pierced the icy winds. They landed near a massive glacier, guided by underground heat signatures. Alien soldiers stepped out, tall and armored, scanning the snow with glowing devices. They didn't know. The ice was a trap. The moment they set foot near the ancient bunker, the ground shook. From under the snow, huge steel turrets rose silently. Then, without warning, beams of pure white energy burst out and tore through the invaders. One by one, the enemy soldiers vanished in flashes of light. Above, the Empire's fleet received the final message from the strike force, static and screams. Admiral Scythus narrowed his eyes. So Earth does have weapons. Back in space, smaller scout ships tried scanning deeper, but Earth's magnetic field had begun to shift. Strange signals blocked all sensors. Earth wasn't just hiding something, it was fighting back, in silence. As the countdown ticked toward 11:30, strange things started happening across the planet. In abandoned cities, strange black machines rose from hidden holes. They looked like statues at first, but then they moved. Their eyes glowed blue. These were the Sentinels, ancient AI war drones built to protect Earth only when no other hope remained. In the oceans, giant metal domes opened, releasing deep-sea ships that had never been seen before. They swam like whales but were armed like battleships. Their orders were simple: stay hidden until the final command. But most people on Earth still had no idea. In a refugee shelter in London, a young boy named Kian stared at the stars through a cracked window. "Are we going to die?" he asked. His older sister Ava held him close. "I don't know," she whispered. "But I don't think the world's done fighting yet." As the Empire's ships hovered high above, preparing another wave of attacks, a sudden signal appeared on every screen in their fleet. It was a human face. Not a general. Not a leader. Just a man with gray eyes and a calm voice. "If you continue," the man said, "Earth will answer. You think we are weak? You are wrong." Then the message ended. Silence. Admiral Scythus laughed. "One man? That's your resistance?" But something about the man's voice, it chilled even the bravest of his officers. On Earth, the countdown ticked lower. 11:29:58. 11:29:57. And across the world, deep underground, doors that had never opened before now hissed as they unlocked. The real war hadn't started yet.